Good evening. I'd like to call the Plainville Planning and Zoning Commission's January 13th, 2026 meeting to order. It is, looks like 7:36 or 7:37. First item on the agenda is roll call. Speaking to that, Bill Davidson is no longer with us. Can we send a card or letter to him? I know it was addressed by the town council for thanking him for all of his years of service. And I think he is in order to receive a chair, I believe that was spoken about at the council meeting. And so, Tom, you're with us permanently now, so thank you very much for your volunteer coming on board with us. We are going to move item number 5, which is bills and communications, ahead of, actually, we'll do it right behind item number 1, roll call. So we'll move it right up behind 1 to address that first, and then we'll move through the rest of the agenda tonight if everyone's okay with that.
Okay. My office received a letter from Plainville residents concerning a desire to request a continuation of the Tilcon application. It was reviewed by the town attorney, and there is no reason for a continuation unless you choose to want to have a continuation. Presently, tonight they're going to present. Yesterday I received responses to my comments. I'm not ready to offer a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the proposal. So I'm going to request the continuation so that until the next meeting, so that I can do a thorough review of their comments and be able to present to you my position on the application.
All right, so can we wait till we get to that?
Correct.
Okay.
But I mean,
In reference, you're commenting regarding the comments that were received from
yes.
the resident. Okay.
Just so you're aware that we received that. That's basically all you need to do is acknowledge that you received the email.
Okay, so we have the email printed for us, so thank you for your comments. Okay, moving on to item number 2, public hearings. We do not have any items tonight. Moving on to unfinished business, we have item number 1, PZ 10/25, number 47, site plan modification, Americold, care of Paul Slawinski, 24 Northwest Drive, proposed construction of a 42,500 square foot addition onto existing facility, and this is being continued from December 10th of 2025. So we have the applicant here. You could come on up to one of the microphones, please, and turn it on, and then just state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. Paul Slawinski representing Americold 24 Northwest Drive here in Plainville, Connecticut. And with me I have Andrew White, our civil engineer.
Good evening, Andrew White, professional civil engineer with Ty and Bond, 213 Court Street in Middletown, Connecticut. So continuing from our last meeting, you have been provided some additional sheets in regards to the existing on-site parking as well as site lighting for the facility. And there was also a comment made from the town of Farmington about truck traffic and the use of Route 177. So to walk you through what you have and what we updated, the overall existing conditions plan, C000 or C002, was updated with the standard parking spaces, which count at 119, accessible parking spaces, which count at 5, dock doors for the facility, which is 23, tractor cab spaces, which count at 45, and trailer spaces at 140. For the proposed conditions of the plan, as we discussed last time, we were removing 2 of the dock doors and placing them on the addition. So for the standard parking spaces, there is no change. And if you're following along, this is on C101, the overall site plan. There's a table on the right-hand side, the facility parking and trailer table. We continue to provide 119 spaces, which is just below the required we continue to provide a total of 124 spaces between the 119 standard spaces and the 5 handicap spaces, which is in excess of the required 119 for the new size of the building. The dock doors maintain at 23. The cab spaces, as we mentioned in the last meeting, would be reduced from the 45 cab spaces to 5. And then the trailer spaces are maintained at 140 trailer spaces. Also, when we were discussing the Farmington comments for Route 177, our use of Route 177, we have added a sign at the exit of the facility at the guard shack requesting all trucks to use Route 177. It's sign number A in the sign legend. All trucks requested to use 177. And then on Farmington Valley Drive, we are proposing a sign 50 feet in advance of the stop sign that will have a to Route 177 and an arrow pointing left. These are all conforming to the MUTCD, the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control devices. So that would be to encourage the truck traffic to continue to use Route 177 instead of going to Route 10. In addition to that, you were also provided the lighting plans for the facility. As we discussed, there were no new pole lights that were being added to the facility, but ES 1.1 shows the wall packs that are being provided along the 3 sides of the building, but were revised on the south and east side. And on ES 1.2, photometrics showing that the foot candles around the building for security and food safety. This is showing that the light does not encroach onto neighboring properties. It is illuminating a slight portion of Corporate Avenue, but adjacent to the existing street lights that are also illuminating Corporate Avenue.
I have a question, because I'm looking at the sheets that we had that were up here that were revised per 12/11/2025, and the new one that I have that's also saying it's revised to 12/11/25, and on sheet C002, on the one that I had in my packet, it says where the loading dock spaces are, it says 23. The former plan says 21, but then on here where it says on the prior one, existing for the tractor cab spaces 45, proposed it says 5. And then on the other one, it says tractor cab spaces 45.
That is correct. So the existing plan has the 45 spaces for the cabs. So
Okay.
on that plan is showing the current existing conditions as they exist today. On the C101 that you're referring to with the 45, then down to the 5,
Yep.
that is the proposed conditions, showing what the labeling what the existing is, as well as the transition to proposed. So the 45 down to the 5. And then your reference to the 21 call out, that is the 21 doors on the main facility. There are 2 additional doors on the addition. So if you look towards the bottom of the page where you have the addition, there's the hexagon with the 2 in it. So that is where the 2 doors are being moved due to those 2 slots being used as the hallway that
Okay.
joins the 2 buildings.
All right, I'm just making sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So where's the, all right, so the sheets are both dated the same date. I know that the C101 was the one that was missing, right, when we were here last time?
I believe it was included, but the table was not accurate, I think was the question. So these were both revised. There is a revision date in the title box.
Yeah, what's the revision date supposed to be?
That is 12/11, 2025, so that was after the meeting, and then we had submitted. The original submission date was 10/22/2025.
Okay. So the table, though, that's on C002 is different than the table that is on C101.
It is different in the fact that it is only describing the existing condition. On C101, it's describing both the existing and the proposed condition. And it has a column header, one that says existing, one that says proposed.
Right, but the existing is 45 for the tractor cab spaces, and you're going to reduce it to 5?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was trying to clarify, because it just looked like such a drastic reduction. Want to make sure I was all on point with what you've got going on.
Understood.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions? No? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to. No, yeah, I know. Propose a motion to approve the site plan modification for Americold CO Paul Slawinski, 24 Northwest Drive, for a proposed 42,500 square foot addition to the existing facility with stipulations if warranted.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? No, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, PZ 11/25, number 49, site plan modification, 76 Broad Lesser, 76 Broad Street, proposed addition, outside storage units, 7 along easterly building face. Good evening. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name's Annette Ellis. I'm a professional engineer with Giuliano Associates in Wallingford on Main Street. This application is for 76 Broad Street. The site is 1.33 acres. The topography of the site's very flat. You'll see there's an existing building. It's about 16,200 square feet. It currently houses self-storage units. Several months ago, we obtained approval to add 17 additional self-storage units. Those are in the 2 rows out closer to Broad Street. At that time, there was a small portion of the site that was in the GC zone. The rest of it's in the GI zone. Self-storage units are not allowed in the GC zone. That line kind of went right along the eastern edge of the building. So we came back, we got a zone change, so the entire site is now in the GI zone, so we'd like permission to add an additional 7 units on that eastern side of the building. When we did the first application, we did account for those 7 units, so the storm drainage, the parking, everything was already on there, accounted for and approved. So nothing's really changing from that original application, except the entire parcel is now in the GI zone, and we're asking your approval for those extra 7 units on the eastern side of the building.
Any commissioners have any questions? If none, would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Chair, make a motion, we approve site plan modification for 76 Broad Street for the addition of 7 outside storage unit with stipulation if warranted.
There her second.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 3, PZ 11/25, number 51, re-subdivision, R&M Development LLC, 117 Shuttle Meadow Road, allow for the creation of a rear lot in Southington and front lot in Plainville. Public hearing is required. John, are we still waiting?
I'm still waiting on Southington's confirmation that the rear lot will be a conforming lot in the town of Southington. I'm waiting for written confirmation.
Okay, so we need to just leave that on the agenda.
Well, your choice is to take the lead and schedule a public hearing if you choose to want to, or you can wait until the next meeting or when we receive that confirmation from Southington to set the public hearing. I mean, that's your prerogative, whether you want to have a public hearing sooner or schedule it soon. Schedule it so that it happens either at the next meeting or the following meeting, or wait until the next meeting to make the public hearing schedule date.
We don't have anyone from the applicant here?
No,
Okay, so I guess I'd rather wait until we have confirmation from Southington before we proceed. What does everyone else think?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Suggest to table it.
all right, go ahead and make a motion. Someone to table it?
Make a motion, we table it till next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Moving on to new business. We have a discussion regarding 141 New Britain Avenue, Laurel Court LLC, multi-unit residential, a minor relocation of structure and related improvements. Good evening. Do you want to just hit your button? Yep.
Good evening, William Galsky, 73 East Main Street, on behalf of the applicant. We have a novel question for you here tonight. Back in this summertime, the commission approved 3 of the 4 legs of the PDD. This was the 3rd PDD approved down on the Britain Avenue, just before J. Timothy's, right? And then in the fall, the site plan was approved. And in the site plan, the building was shown as being 5 feet from the westerly line, from the westerly property line, which was in conformity with the regulations. The regulations require one sideline of 15 feet, which would have been the easterly side, and a total of 20. And that was approved without incident. And then the applicant went to pull a building permit, and it was found that because of the style of the building and the fire rating, the building needs to be 10 feet off the property line. For example, in the downtown area, we have buildings that are very close together, but they're brick. This building's residential building has got windows, so there's a different fire rating. It has to be at least 10 feet off the property line. So the question became what to do. We had a meeting with Mr. Bossy, the engineer, Steve Judas, and I, and we decided to contact a couple other towns to find out what you would do in this type of application. So we contacted Southington and Farmington. The Southington acting planner down there is Dave LaValle. He's been there for about 20 years. He said that he would just go ahead and give the authority to go ahead and go with it. In Farmington, we spoke with Shannon Rutherford. She's been the planner for a little over 4 years there. She thought that it should come before the commission to decide. Both thought that it was a very minor incidental change that did not require a new application. So that's where we are tonight to ask you that. So the import of this is that the northwest corner of the building, as you look at it, essentially is going to pivot to the right about 5 feet, which I'm guessing is probably about the distance of the TV over there. You know, it's kind of going to pivot on the front southeast corner. We can still meet the sideline requirements for the easterly side. So it's almost going to be negligible. If you drove by, you'd probably never see the difference. The Mylars have not been filed for this. They've been, they're available, they're ready, the appeal period has gone by. So what we would seek to do is to just swap out the couple pages that show the building, instead of being 5 feet off the property line, show it being 10 feet off the property line.
What does the commission feel?
I think it's minor and it doesn't have to come back before us.
Agree.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, any concerns, John?
No?
Okay, then what do you need anything formally from us or just our blessing?
Your concurrence that the applicant has the ability to revise the site plan to reflect the rotation of the building,
With the-
minor rotation of the building.
And with the appropriate changes to be included in the Mylar?
Yep.
Everyone's agreed?
Yes.
Okay, you have our blessing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This action precludes the need to do number 2. That was a backup in case you decided that it was important.
All right,
Was-
so number 2, we actually don't need to address as it was relevant to number 1, and we already determined that there was no action required. So we can move on to item number 3.
Tilcon's going to give a presentation tonight to give you an introduction to what they're proposing to do. As I stated earlier, I'm still some of their comments are still under review, and at this present time, I can't give you a recommendation to support an approval or to deny. So therefore, I think that ultimately this will be put on next month's agenda. But I think it's important for you to listen to their presentation.
Okay, so item number 3 is PZ01/26, number 1, site plan, Tilcon Incorporated, 0 Loon Lake Road, 475 New Britain Avenue, proposed installation of permanent stone processing equipment in the quarrying zone. Good evening. If you could just state your name and address.
Yeah, good evening, William Galsky again on behalf of the applicant. And with us tonight, and they're going to handle pretty much all of the presentation, and I think you'll find it pretty interesting, is the president of Tilcon, Carolina Cavalcante, and the environmental and land manager, Chris Costello. And you've had them both here before you in the past, so I think Chris is going to kick it off.
While they're pulling that up, we can introduce ourselves and give addresses, because I know you guys like that. Carolina Cavalcante, as Mr. Galsky said, president for Tilcon, Connecticut, 300 Woodford Avenue, Plainville.
Chris Costello, environmental land manager for Tilcon, 300 Woodford Avenue.
Let me try the computer again.
I think she is.
Yeah, it was up there.
Just a brief introduction. The application generally is, currently they operate with temporary conveyors and temporary crushers and the like. What they're proposing to do is to install permanent equipment, similar to what they have, I believe, on Woodford Avenue. I mean, we can go on to the next item. It's rather quick. The next item is related to a CROG appointment. I guess the chairman has volunteered to continue her service at CROG. I need a motion to approve her to represent you at CROG.
Unless someone else would love it.
No, my guess is keep the job. You're doing a fine job.
Whoever wants to make the motion, feel free.
I'll make the motion to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission chairperson to the Capital Region of Governor Executive Board as one of the Plainville residents.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. I'll do my best.
Ready?
All set.
All right, this is the entire property. This is one of the maps that we submitted for the quarry review. To the left in the green is the ridgeline protection zone. The area we're talking about is down at the bottom. North is up, 45, DeBritton Avenue is at the bottom. That small area, you can't, you want me to get up and kind of
Yeah.
point? This is the area we're talking about. It's about 30 acres. This is the area we want to put.
Sir, could you?
Could you move?
Oh, thank you. This area, right there. So we have, currently we're using a portable crusher, and it moves various locations throughout this area. We want to put permanent crushing equipment here. This is a schematic of the new permanent crushing equipment. The primary crusher's up here, and then there's a series of conveyors, screens, crushers that kind of stockpile as we're going through. It's about 1,500 feet from here to here.
So we wanted to, we know there's been a lot of talk about our plans in Plainville North and what we're doing there. And as the president of the company, I wanted to address the committee and give you guys a little bit more clarity of what we're doing. I wanted to start out with the emphasis on our core value, which is people are our priority. Yes, that starts with our employees and making sure their health and safety are our number one priority, but that extends to our customers and further into the community we serve. So we take our commitment to our community extremely seriously, and what we're hoping through this presentation also provides some more transparency over what our plans are for Plainville North. As you know, back in the fall, we hosted an open house for the community so that they could learn more. Some of you were able to attend that and get more information on the project. So what I really am trying to do is bring this project to life. Yes, you can see it on paper, but to bring it to life with some pictures, tell you a little bit about the site history, and then cover specifically some of the questions we got regarding noise and dust that Mr. Bossi passed along to us. So with that, this is a current image of the site, and as you can see, that is an image on the center. There is the portable crushing that we used in 2025 at that site. So let's start with history. So this is a photo actually from 1964, but actually our history in this site dates back to 1885 when the Cookstone and Ice Company started processing aggregates on this site. There were a few different ownership changes that happened, but it started with the Cook Ice and Stone Company. And one of the things that is highlighted on this image is if you look at the road, you see just north of that the fixed processing plant that was in place in the 60s on this site. So obviously very much on the road, in your face. And in the 1970s when New Haven Trap Rock and Tilcon merged, they had both, they had the different quarries, and this ended up being taken down. When this was taken down, after that, there was, depending on the demand that was happening, we would be using different portable equipment to crush on this site. Another thing I'd like to highlight on this picture is there was rail that was connected in this site. And when we came to this committee for the entrance redesign, one of the requests was to remove that rail, and that was one of the things we did. Also, as part of the redesign, and this brings us to, 2023 was when we came forward for the new entrance, and these are a few pictures of the new entrance. With that, we did a comprehensive traffic study, which was approved at the time by the committee, and it's over a 50-page study that I believe you guys have in record and that has been reviewed. But we spent a lot of time on this entrance because you look back at that first picture and you see how exposed our operations were. And we really spent time on making sure that we had nice berms in the property and that they could really act as a physical barrier between the quarry and the public road to reduce noise and dust. So this was an intentional thing done. There's actually 2 berms. And again, a lot of thought put into that because we know how our south operation is, and you saw how it was here and how exposed that was. And we take our image and how we show up to the community seriously. Another thing you can see on this picture on the left is towards the back there, you see the beginning of the ridgeline. As Chris mentioned, we are committed to protecting that ridgeline and keeping that ridgeline. We value the trees that are there, and we think it's important to continue to protect that, and it's lawful of us to protect it because it is protected by the Connecticut state. This is another view of the entrance, and you see there, our goal is to have trees all over that berm that will shield even more, what's happening kind of behind the berms and to keep it inside the berms. I know when we first started redoing the entrance at the end of 23, beginning of 24, I drive that road every day when I'm going to the gym. And my fellow people, guys at Big Sky would all ask, what are you guys doing there? What's happening? And, the positive comments of what we've done with that entrance and really reviving it and making it a more appealing site and something that, we actually had a neighbor come to us, and she wanted to know what we had planted because she lives further down, and she's been trying to grow something on there that wouldn't grow too much, but that would stay nice. So we're really proud with what we've done with the entrance, and it's also a testament and a common theme in our company about continuous improvement. We're always trying to find ways to get better, and in talking about a portable plant to a fixed plant, it's, again, that continuous improvement and trying to get better. So next, I want to bring sort of the equipment to life and what is this plant that's coming over. So this is a rendering of what you saw on the paper. I'm going to kind of walk you through this and really take you through the journey of what happens with the rock when we're making it. So if you start all the way on the top, the yellow truck, you can kind of see it dumping material into that purple structure. So that's the primary crusher. That primary crusher will take boulders up to 4 feet, about 4 feet wide, can go through there. And the whole process is making that big boulder into smaller rock. So it's going to go down there, go onto conveyors, onto screens, and it's basically a combination of crushers, conveyors, and screens that size the stone to the appropriate sizes that will be at the bottom of the quarry there, and that we can then sell to customers. So that's the rock that's going to go into asphalt. It's the rock that's going to go into concrete, and it's the rock that's going to go straight into projects. And that's where we see the true impact of what Tilcon can do for the community is improving our roads when we're paving them, contributing to the buildings where we live, where we work, and so forth. So a little bit more on the crushers. These are images of some of the crushers. So the first one, it's our primary crusher, so that's the largest one that would go on site. Then we have the secondary crusher, which is 7 foot. And then we're actually going to have 3 of those HP 350s. So that HV350, we get really excited about it because it's the most modern cone crusher out there, and we're really excited to see how it's going to fit into our operation and modernize it. And I know through images you can't really see what's happening, but think about a mortar and a pestle, and it just, that movement gets that big rock into little rock. That's what these crushers are doing. That's a picture of a conveyor, just as an example, and then that's an image of a screen. And I'll get in a little bit more detail into the screens and some of the things we're doing related to the screens for noise and dust. So when we talk about our dust and noise control plan, what we submitted to Mr. Bossi, and we had copies for you guys. I'm not sure if you guys received it, but there's a detailed mitigation plan on different things we plan on using and want to use. But again, we wanted to bring this to life and give you guys a little bit more color on it. I also want to mention that our operations are regulated and monitored by federal and state agencies, specifically MSHA, OSHA, and DEEP. Also, the regulatory criteria is based on protecting those that are working closest to the operation, but also ensuring minimal impact to our community. So we're constantly monitored by these agencies, and we take it very seriously. So as we start giving a little bit of life into what some of these controls are that can go on the equipment. So if you look at the image on the right, that black thing, that's an insulation pad. So that basically goes underneath the crusher, and as it moves and is moving around, it mitigates the noise. We also can control the distance that the material is dropped into the crusher, and that, again, reduces the noise because it's a smaller drop. On the right side, if you look specifically at that red feeder has a rubber liner inside, and again, the impact against the rubber, it helps mitigate both noise and dust. Additionally, within the feeders and the equipment, we will have water being sprayed. So this is an example within a primary crusher, and you see the nozzles there. So these are special nozzles that basically atomize the water, and as they do that, it creates a larger mist that can then maximize the coverage, right? So it covers a larger area with less water, essentially, and keeps the dust down. This is what I mentioned on the screen. So obviously this is a zoomed in view of a screen, but you can see that yellow screen there. So normally we use steel screens, right? So they're made out of steel. This one is made out of rubber. So a rubber screen, it reduces the noise by more than 50% compared to a steel screen. So we're going to be using rubber screens, and then on top of that, we'll have these dust covers that, again, will help reduce the noise, but also keep the dust within the equipment versus it coming out. This is a zoomed-in version of what these nozzles do, and we would be installing all these nozzles across the conveyors and the different transfer points. So again, minimizing dust as much as possible. Furthermore, I've kind of highlighted things that can go into equipment. There's also things we can do in the site to help mitigate the dust and noise. A lot of it is related to the entrance, but then we also have water trucks. I know you have all seen our water trucks in town, but they work inside our facilities, keeping the paved roads wet, and that as trucks go out, that minimizes what the dust they take out. We also have road sweepers, so that's the top right picture, that will help pick up anything that clean up the roadways anywhere where there might be cleanup needed. The the paved road that you see there, that I've already explained part of that, we also plan on extending that within the property so that, again, the dust can be mitigated. And then I also wanted to provide a visual of our trucks. So if you see that black bar, that moves back. It's the tarp that actually covers the material. Any truck leaving our facility is required to be tarped, and that keeps the dust or anything, the material really in the trucks. So this was just a brief overview and just visuals really to bring this a little bit to life, because I feel like when we look at it on paper, it's hard to understand, okay, what does this all mean? And hopefully it makes some of the documentation you received more understandable when you're going through it. As I said, we take our commitment to the community very seriously. We do have a project website that is available. We try to keep that updated on a regular basis to talk about the project. And I encourage you guys to visit the website. This is our way of also being transparent and keeping the community informed. And it's really a way to ensure the continued partnership as we move forward together. So thank you very much. Happy to take any questions you might have about the application or about the project.
Do any commissioners have any questions at this point?
I had a quick one. You talked about the new equipment. Can you just state the differences between the existing equipment in regards to safety of how the new permanent equipment would enhance that, as well as besides safety for the employees, dust mitigation, as well as, contamination getting out into the residential area?
Yeah, so the current equipment is a portable crushing operation. It's actually operated by a third-party contractor. And yes, we try as much as we can to control them. They're on our site. We're responsible for it. But they have their own safety measures. Within our operations, there's another standard of what we use. And I also feel that the fixed facility, there are certain, it's a lot of moving parts when you look at that, right? And the portable plant, there's more exposure to those moving parts than when you're in a fixed facility. And there's more control, and things are better built with proper accesses for our employees, for all of that. So that's one big thing. And then it's just the quality of the actual crushers and the screens, how much you can put over and how much you can install of all those misters on the equipment. So there's just much more controls that we can put in place versus a portable plant that gets moved to different locations. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
How much difference might we see from the other quarry in terms of the way the equipment functions? Just because, we drive by there all the time.
Yeah.
There is a lot of dust.
Yeah. So on the south side, I think that was also built in the 60s. So I think, you're going to state-of-the-art equipment, first of all. And there isn't a berm, there isn't an entrance in that facility. So it's a facility that is very exposed. There's a piece of it in terms of where the trucks in the primary that are towards the back, but the processing plant is right up front. So not behind the asphalt plant. So it's just more exposed than what we have there. Furthermore, if you comparing it to the south, we're going to have less crushers and less equipment that's going to be needed.
When we look at buildings, we look at facades, we look at contours. When we look to protect ridge lines, we're looking at the aesthetics also of the ridge line. Yes, there are very important species, plant life, et cetera, which I know you have that information included in the packet. But, now driving on 84, you look up and you're like, oh, like aesthetically, you really see the difference. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else, as people are coming in and out of the town, because 84 is highly traveled.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that could potentially be done to positively affect that?
Yeah. So I think one of the aspects are the trees that we plan on growing there. We've struggled a little bit with the trees, and some have died, and we're trying to find the right species to put there. With time, those trees, I think, are going to really create a forest basically in front that will make it better. One of the things we've also tried to improve is within the Metacomet Trail, if you go up, we now have, a picture is better than words, but, we have wood fencing, and we're trying to make that area kind of more pleasing. I know it's not what you see from 84, but even as you're on the trail, so that it is more compelling for people hiking up that trail to enjoy it versus, being looking into our operations.
Any other commissioners have any questions?
I do have just a question. With the transition to permanent equipment, operation time, what is expected as far as, daily operations?
Yeah, it would be similar to what we have on the south side. So one main production shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Running, what are your hours typically for that main production shift?
We run 6:30 to 3:30? Todd?
Yeah, like 6 to 5, depending.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you mentioned the distance, it was, I forget what, 1,200 feet or 1,400
feet. Yep.
Is that a straight line distance, or is that product flow distance?
Straight line distance.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from commissioners? Anything else, John, to add at this point?
No, other than, in the upcoming days, you'll get what was submitted to me for review, and hopefully, I will be able to complete my review for your next meeting, and, you'll be able to, ask additional questions if you have it, and, move the process forward, in one form or another.
Thank you. So would someone like to make a motion to table item number 3, PZ01/26, number 1?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table item number 3, PZ01/26, number 1, site plan for Tilcon Incorporated.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to item number 6, as we already addressed number 5. We have our meeting minutes from December 10th of 2025. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 10th, 2025 meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any comments or correction? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 7, planners report. Item number 1 is discussion regarding drive-through message signage regulations.
I wanted to get some direction in regards to signage and how to handle signage when it comes to drive-throughs. It's specific to Starbucks, who you granted a special exception for a drive-through, but as I remember in past, what accompanied that approval usually was a sign package that was associated with the drive-through. And what I need is some guidance in regards to, how to handle the signs, because they're detached in one fashion or another, but are they really a detached sign like a pylon sign or an entrance sign? They add square footage to signage, because there's a message that they're trying to convey to the public. Is this something that goes to ZBA in regards to an extra sign? Or is this something that is customarily approved as part of the special exception?
Well, it doesn't usually go through ZBA unless it exceeds the number of signs that are allowed on the site plan, on the lot.
Okay, well, in this particular case, they've already have 3, they have gotten approval for a 4th one at ZBA, so what you're saying is that if they're adding, say, two signs, and kind of an entry sign and then a board sign, that would be adding added additional signage, so they'd be going to ZBA for a 5th and 6th sign.
Yeah.
And then do
That
they come back?
exceeds, and they have to come back to us
Come back to you after that with?
for location, et cetera.
For location and square footage and that kind of stuff.
Yep,
Okay.
correct.
All
Yeah, that's, I
right,
think, what
so
we've done
I
before.
understand how it's been handled. The second item is, I want to give you a summary of what's been going on with the subcommittee for the Planet Conservation and Development.
And I also have some comments on that, because there's some additional information that I think we need to also talk about regarding that wasn't included in there.
Okay. Generally speaking, you're well aware that there have been some inquiries in regards to the plan of development and what the work and how it's been put together. Town council has been fielding those inquiries, and as part of their process to address them, they created a subcommittee. And then the subcommittee's task is to review the process and come up with some recommendations on what should be done. Initially, the findings indicated that there was some, for the lack of a better word, clerical errors. I think that I listed the changes and what they really amount to. There's some omissions. There's some inconsistencies in how they handled the colors in the document. And then there's a couple errors. There was one error in regards to a motion that was mistook, that was specific to historic preservation. I mean, I can go right through each one of the findings in regards to what we believe are clerical errors that staff made and staff will correct.
Not to interrupt you, John, but, so the bulk of the information that was included in the email was probably the first time that this commission has heard what was going on. So I'm going to back it up a little bit. Historically, if there's ever been an issue with, well, historically, since I've been here, there really hasn't been an issue with errors. So I would have thought that if whoever it was found errors anywhere on any of our documents or any other commission's documents, they would have addressed it with the town planner or that respective commission. So it's gone in a little bit different direction than I wish I would have seen it happen, and it's involved a lot of time and efforts that I'm appreciative of. However, I felt that this commission was left in the dark. And I think it's time that this commission sits down together and looks at all of the issues and make sure that we cross every T and dot every I that's on the list that's been brought to our attention, but there's more. So, we haven't had the opportunity to sit here as a commission and discuss it. We've got it in an email. We've yet to have a time. I knew information that the rest of this commission didn't know. And that's not fair to this commission. And so, I'm grateful. And I'm grateful that people are concerned and that they found these issues. And I'm grateful that people took the time to have a subcommittee. And I'm grateful that the town council has been so helpful and the town attorney spent so much effort in prior town planners. But really, it's our purview to fix this. And we haven't even had the opportunity to sit down and discuss it. We need a work session because it's more than just what's on that paper. That's just out of fairness, and I would hope going forward, any other issues would come the proper chain of command so that we could rectify them timely.
We can schedule, say, a work session, the first meeting in February, to review the proceedings of changes that were made. We
I
can do that.
think so,
And
yeah.
I think that it would be prudent also to, in that work session, to start thinking about the whole section that talks about the northeast quadrant, because when you created the planned development district, you likely, if it comes to fruition, you likely might change the general character of what that area is like. If you were to spend some time to look at the projected uses, you might find or might think that if the PDD is built in a way that they think it's going to be built, that large residential, large lot residential, probably won't be the choice of the developers or owners of the property. They're probably going to be before your commission at some time in the future saying, you know what, the best use of this land is not R40 residential zone. It is something different than that. And that's something that you might want to review prior to the next the next plan of development in 2029 or whenever it comes to be.
Right.
And what I'm looking for tonight is a concurrence that staff can make the changes that were suggested in the email.
I think we need to review them, and let's have a
Okay.
discussion about
I mean,
them.
That's
If-
all we're really looking for, is
Right.
concurrence. We're not looking for a motion. We're not saying that there was anything that you as a commission did wrong in regards to these things. It was basically, staff made some errors.
But I just want to clarify what some of the errors were that weren't clarified to that degree, because the individuals that were on the subcommittee weren't here when we made the approvals, and they don't always understand what the colors look like on the maps and what they represent, and what section that's on the map and in the content that's written in there needs to be on which page.
Okay.
And the bigger piece that's more confusing is there's two versions of the plan of conservation development accessible through the website
And-
from
and
two
that's-
different ways.
And that's the main reason why we want to correct clerical errors.
Right, and so that's, I guess, the first thing we should talk about is, before we even go there, is how we access it online. You know, when you go through the website, if you click on the tab on the left under Planning and Zoning, it gives you Plan of Conservation and Development, but that's the 2019 plan without any changes.
Correct.
And if you go into the body of the text that's on our page where it's highlighted, and you click on that, that's the
The new version.
the new version. But the problem then from there, when you're looking at the new version, is if you look at the beginning, it says that highlighted areas in red are action items. So now any of the revisions that were added into the plan were added in red.
Correct, and that's some of the
That's
corrections.
one of the, but now it's even bigger than this. Because we need to clearly define every single change that's been made as a modification since 2019 to make sure that stuff wasn't added in red, because we've had 3 planners. And so I don't know if they all highlighted it in red. It never should have been put in red. It should have been whatever color purple is proposed, I believe. But we need to clarify that. This is a little bit of work, because I'm not convinced that what was discovered is the only thing that is a problem.
Okay,
And so if we're going to make the correction, it's going to have to go to public hearing, and it's going to have to go to CROG. And all of these things. And so we're going to do it, we're going to do it once, and we're going to do it right.
okay.
And so I guess that's the first issue, is, you know, that needs to be fixed about how it's accessed and what's accessed. And it needs to be the consistent document with the updated version. I don't know if you want to start going through the
All right,
list,
wait.
and then I'll add in where I've come up with some of the other issues.
Okay, what was the findings of the investigation? It begins with the cover page. The cover page should have a revision date or an amended date on it. It should be in purple. That's the first administrative miscue that was identified.
Or even on that cover page, it should have each amendment date and then correspond to what was amended and direct you to the page number of where the amendments are.
That could be it, but there's the last page is what, the last page of the document is that particular function. So basically.
Right, or
basically
reference that.
Basically, the cover sheet says whatever the version is, if it's 2019 or
Right.
2024, or 2025.
Revised to January of
Whatever.
2025, whatever it was,
Whatever.
but it doesn't even have a definitive date on there.
That's one of the findings was to add a revision date to the title page. And that seems pretty straightforward. Doesn't seem that it's an action that warrants formal proceedings. At least to my opinion, it doesn't.
But anytime we change anything in those pages, it's supposed to go to CROG.
Correct, but the attorney made a conclusion that errors that were related to clerical or administrative, it wasn't a material change.
Okay.
I mean, you can disagree with that, but that's what the attorney's position on this. So that the first one is pretty simple. It's just adding a revision date to the title page. The second error or second correction is to delineate on page 5. Put a purple text in there that says anything in purple basically is something amended. That's a page that describes all your notations on all your pages. It's a guide to instruct the reader, what everything means. So that it was suggested that a purple text indicating amendments be added to that page. I think that's pretty straightforward. That was an oversight.
Right.
The next one was there's some confusion in regards to page 54 and 63. It was believed that the page 54 was really should have been really 63. That's conclusions that were made. Maybe that's not what you envisioned it to be, but that's what during our investigation, that's what we believed it should have been.
So if you look at the hard copy and what's on page 54 from the unrevised version, that page should be the same page 54 that we have now. What it looks like is that 63 was put for 64 because if you look at the beginning of the paragraph as it describes the northeast quadrant, the verbiage is different. So it looks like the wrong page, 63, was actually utilized for 64 because some of the 54 because some of the content of what's written on that is different.
So are you saying that
And that's why the map was different.
are you saying that in the version that's noted to be 2025, are you saying that?
What I'm saying is you have to take the online version of what is the updated version. And you have to look page by page for 54 and 63. And if you look at the verbiage on 63 and the verbiage on 64, it's different because they're talking about different things. Because it's different sections. Like 54 is talking about promoting, enhancing and guiding economic opportunities. So the content of what is on page 54 is relevant to that. Versus the content of what is on page 63 is guiding and managing residential development. So you're not going to have concepts, they shouldn't be flip-flopped, and right now there's concepts that are in the wrong spot and the maps are wrong. The whole page, in terms of the way that 54 is, it looks like page 63 was taken inadvertently and all of the additions were added onto 63 and it was put where 54 should be.
Okay.
And that's where the highlights are different. So if you look at 54 in the revision and you look at 54 in the old one, there's a hashed line on page 54 for where the loop road system is. Now there's a solid line and the configurations are different. And the content of what's on there has changed.
Okay.
And so that's where I think we really need a work session to look at this because then what was written in on that page needs to stay on page 54, but the content of the map and what's in the verbiage that was the original needs to go to 63.
Okay,
And so, we have to decipher what goes in what section.
okay. So basically what you're saying is that
54
54 and 63 need to be reevaluated
Correct.
and put in the right.
We need the
place.
right content and the right map on the right page that's depicting what is relevant in that section in the POCD.
Okay,
And it's
And-
not correct, it's not fully correct on what's been given to us for a suggestion.
okay,
Because the understanding of why it's there, I think is not fully understood.
okay. So that would be topic number 1 on the work session that we're going to schedule for the
Correct.
first meeting now of February.
Because we need to look at the maps, which map is supposed to be where, the highlights, are the highlights correct? Is the comments that are written in there, are those comments the way that they were supposed to be written, or was something misguided
Okay,
in what the content is?
All right.
Because it gets confusing and it gets misleading if it's in the wrong section.
okay. So we will take that up on the first meeting of February. Moving on, we're going to skip the 3 items. So basically, we talked about the 3 items, 54, 63, and then 54. We already spoke about that. We move on to page 55, inconsistency in the color of the text. There's some revisions made in regards to, I think, PDDs that were related to, I think, East Street. I think this was the reference there. They're not in purple. They're in a different color, so we would like to put them in purple to be consistent with what the standard's going to be. On page 55, they reviewed the motions that were made, and without putting Glenn on the spot, he clearly didn't have any references to historic preservation. It was not included. There was some discussion in regards to it was already part of the big picture description and didn't need to be specifically noted. If you would like, we could provide the actual verbiage for that, with that actual motion.
So I looked back at our Plan of Conservation and Development from 2009, and I really want to reference that because when they had the work groups and when we had the verbiage done in the extent, and it was like a very thick book. I did not bring it tonight because I had enough to carry. But most of us have that. If you look through it, it talks about some of the suggestions on historic preservation. There was good content in there. So rather than us we were looking for definitions, we were looking for a lot of things. I think we should reference that 2009 POCD for some guidance on that.
Okay. And the last correction is related to the last page, which is a summary of all the amendments, and it's to clean it up.
I think that's all I had.
The last item is that I need to put you on notice that there's likely to be a proposal presented to you to make formal changes to sections of the Plan of Development and Conservation. And that would be a formal, they're going to make a formal, like anybody else, a formal application. You'll go through all the steps where you would deliberate, you would come up with your own language. It would be referred to the town council and to CROG, and then it would come back to you for final approval.
Well,
based
that's
based
you're-
on the process.
Are you talking about what we're working on or something else outside of that, for something else?
It has nothing to do with
With
page
this.
54 and 63. It has everything to do with other things that are seen to be errors that were, or misinformation in the document.
Okay.
Specifically to the northeast quadrant, but there seems to, there likely will be some text amendments suggested that would more clearly describe what should be there. Whether you agree or disagree, that's, you know, you'll have an opportunity to deliberate and review what the language, or even maybe modify the language if you see fit.
So I guess here's gonna be my request then, because I know the town manager's here. We don't have a town planner, and I feel like we need someone to be guiding us and assisting us. You have a lot of work on your plate. And it sounds like there's gonna be a lot of expertise needed going forward, and we need the support as a commission to make sure that we're doing this properly. And so I would request that we have someone that is skilled in the area of being a planner, whether they come in on a consultory capacity, but we need someone to assist us with this to make sure that we're doing it properly.
Okay, Mike's here, right?
Yeah, I got it.
I'll
Because I don't want
convey
to
that
do this
message.
again. I don't want anyone having to do this again. The amount of hours I alone have spent on this, town council members that have volunteered for this committee, and I appreciate everyone's time, but we're not doing this again. We need to do it right, we need to do it better, and we need to work together as a town and do things chain of command the right way so that our emotions all stay chill. Because it's too much time. We have lives. Any commissioners have any comments?
From my perspective, from what we can agree on, can I get a concurrence that staff can make the changes to the cover sheet, the last page, page 5? I mean, that's all we're looking for is concurrence, so that we can update, or we can make some corrections.
I would reach out to CROG for clarification of what you're allowed to do. That doesn't have to go through them.
Okay.
Reach out to Caitlin. I'll explain the situation and make sure, see what she says, that she feels comfortable that doesn't go through CROG. And if it's, if it's the cover page, if it's the page 5, and then changing the colors throughout the document for any of the revisions that were added in, even though they may not be on the right page, at least if we can do the color change and that kind of thing. And then we're gonna have to fix whatever's on the website, that can be fixed. Because that's on our end, clerical.
Okay.
But I would like to clarify with CROG first.
So I can get a concurrence that some of the items, at least, are within the realm of us doing action.
After concurrence with CROG, and just
Okay.
let us know what those
All right.
items are gonna be, and then we're gonna set up, we're gonna do a work session for the commission. You said, when's the meeting, we can do it on February?
Well, I mean, we can do it in January, on the 27th, if that's, I mean, we can start the process. I don't know if we can, but you're looking for a consultant too to assist, so, I mean, maybe February would be a better timeframe.
Well, I think we can get started on it.
So maybe we can spend, I don't know, you want to set aside 45 minutes on the 27th to start the process?
Maybe well, what do we have on the agenda for then so far?
Well,
'Cause I don't-
right now, it's just Tilcon.
Okay.
And the subdivision, setting a public hearing for the subdivision.
All right,
as
so
read.
then we would do, and if anything else comes on, and then we'll do the work session at the end.
Okay, so I mean, we could set a time limit, 45 minutes. that
Yeah,
might
that's
be-
fine. But I'd like to hop on this,
Okay.
get moving.
Can I ask one question? I'm talking about these items, specifically the one on 55. If the motion was made without the language, don't we need to delete that as soon as possible. I don't understand how that would require CROG if we published something that does not match with the motion we made. That particular item concerns me if what we published does not match with what we said we were doing. I wasn't there for that meeting, so I don't know.
Yeah, it needs to be corrected.
That one concerns me from the standpoint of that is providing,
False information.
yes.
Mhm. And the town attorney, was he okay with us making that, taking
Yes.
that out of there?
Yep, I mean, they actually reviewed the motions and compared it to what was in the document. And that was one of the findings, was that the motion didn't specifically have that sentence in it in regards to historic preservation.
So can you pull for us what that motion was? And then what was added verbatim into the POCD?
Okay,
And then we have to make a motion for that, to fix it in that manner,
okay.
that specifically.
All right, I mean, we can have that ready for you for.
That for the next
January-
meeting,
January
yeah.
27th.
Any other comments? No? Do we have anything else under planner's report?
No, unless you have questions of me. I mean,
I guess I'll bring it up again, because I don't know if you spoke with Jacob. Any efforts forward on my abutter?
we're working on it.
Because the fence is still halfway down. There's that green fence that's not supposed to be there. That's a temporary fence that's become a permanent fence. And there's plantings that are growing over the fence that are not on the plan.
Okay, I will follow up with Jacob on that.
And if that, we have to keep consistent in our enforcement. If it's one plan, it doesn't matter where it's located, it could be anywhere in town. If we're supposed to have a plan that says things on it, then they're supposed to be on it, they're supposed to be maintained, and we've been adding that to all of our motions for clarification. I'd like to ask one thing, because I know we are taped, and I know there's probably a lot of people watching, and we do always have a lot of people in the public. One of the things that would help all of us on all of our commissions and for town council is if people are not familiar with Robert's Rules of Orders for how a meeting is run, if they could please review that prior to coming to the meeting, so we have mutual respect. Because there is a lot of times in here that there is a lot of disrespect, and this is 2026, and I'm not doing it this year. This is a volunteer position up here. Sometimes we get beat up here, and it's needless. We really need to have mutual respect. We're trying to do this up here for free for all of you. And so just, be prepared as to what we can and can't do in a meeting. And if you have any questions, always reach out to town staff, because they're more than willing to help explain it. Anybody else have anything for John? If not, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.